My mum used to have a swimming pool, and I remember sitting around it once about 15 years ago and just watching her dog go round and round the swimming pool, and the idea then came from there. And one of my favourite horror movies of all time is Cujo, so I put the two things together, and that became the script, and it sat around for a while. And then it just recently resurfaced and took on a whole new life. I love the horror genre because as a filmmaker, it allows me to play in a way that no other genre does. It's a fantasy in a world that is a lot of fun because you're manipulating the audience, and it's so much fun watching them jump and scream, and it's a very communal, theatrical thing. As just a normal person, not a filmmaker, the thing I love about horror is it's great to be scared in a safe environment.
When we first started developing the script, you do research into different situations of people who had chimpanzees as pets, and in seems like almost every instance there's been some tragedy, because the fact is chimpanzees shouldn't be kept as pets.
Hi, Ben.
It's like, chimps are so cute. And, you know, we all see videos in our feeds on Instagram, or, you know, you go to the circus or the zoo or, you know, whatever, you know, that is where we've encountered them.
Lucy, back. Ben, missed.
Lucy missed Ben.
But then you see the true capabilities of their physicality and what they're able to do with their strength. And I think that's when things start to escalate and how they attack. The thing with Ben is he can come from anywhere. He can climb, he's incredibly fast, he's incredibly strong, and this docile creature that, you know, was always hugs and kisses all of a sudden becomes a true threat.
You dumb fucks, we need help, okay? Send someone!
Chimps are just terrifying. They're really evil, terrifying creatures. And you know, the more we started to research chimps, the darker it sort of became. And this movie is a very, very gory movie.
From the very beginning, Johannes, in early conversations that we had, wanted to execute exactly what we have here, which is a very grounded, scary movie. One of the things we talked about early on was, well, how do you make this movie? You know, because it's a chimpanzee, and your automatic instinct is, well, it's got to be VFX, and if it's VFX, then it's going to be a very expensive movie. And I think from the very beginning, he and I were in sync, where we said, it's got to be practical. Like, it's got to be old school. It's got to be like the way we used to make these horror movies. It's a person in a suit with animatronic facial features, with puppeteers controlling the facial expressions, and that's what we've got, you know? So it's really fun to see, to be on a production where we've built the house and the pool on a stage in London, you know, a house that supposedly lives in Hawaii, and we've got a translight, and we've got rear projections that we can do night and day on this set. And I don't know, it's exactly what he wanted to do, which is keep everything in camera, minimal VFX, you know, clean up, wire removals, things like that, but very, very minimal VFX, and then kind of make an old school horror movie.
He loves this genre. Every night he goes home and watches some new remastered 4K of a classic horror film. It's just who he is and what he loves to do, so he's, you know, in his element, and I think that enthusiasm is infectious. It's infectious for the cast, for the crew, certainly for me, and hopefully we're making something that kind of sits up there with all these films that he reveres.
Yeah, let's try that. Yeah, just that.
Doing practical gore effects is a lot of fun because it's one of the few times that when you're doing a movie, you really do elicit the same reactions that you hope your audience do. You get that on set, you know, even without editing and sound effects. Like if you've got a good practical effect, you'll just feel it all around the crew. They'll just be like gagging, and it is kind of fun. It's the little boy sort of fun, schoolboy fun, you know, just watching people squirm as you know, rip someone's throat off.
I really feel nauseous. Ben loves it. Yeah.
Johannes really leads a very fun set. I think it's kind of surprising. I've never done a horror before, so I was not expecting a horror movie set to be so fun. Truly, I think we laugh more than anything on the set. He just likes to have fun, and he doesn't make anything too serious. Also, while respecting, when there are intense scenes, he really leads a quiet set so you can have your time and your space to find, those intense emotions. But for the most part, he just really makes it fun.
Get in the pool!
That was one of the great ideas that they came up with, was chimps can't swim, so the safest place for them is to jump into the pool. And they're safe for the moment, but Johannes and Ernest have done a great job of setting up all these complications.
As you know, if you watch this film, about half of it takes place in water. He was there the whole time. He was in the pool every day with us. Every time we were in the water doing a scene that he could not be seen by the camera, he was right there with a floating monitor. I mean, he was truly there with us and just by our side every step of the process.
Let's go from the beginning again. I'll rank them so you don't get that far.
With a movie like this, it's super important to be interacting with them at all times. And so when we did the pool stuff, I would direct from the pool, and I'd have an iPad and be in the pool with them and the camera operator, because otherwise you become very cut off from your cast and very distant if you just hover behind the monitor. And it's a grueling shoot. Having done a lot of water work with the 47 movies before, I sort of realized what they would be going through, and it meant that we were kind of all in it together, because it was not desperately pleasant.
He really made a very fun and light environment for such intense circumstances.
So he says, before I open the door...
I was a big fan of Troy after watching Coda, and we approached him to be in Primate. But it was a tricky thing. I've never worked with a deaf actor before. We just wanted to be part of the family, a normal part, the father of the family.
When we were able to cast Troy Kotsur for the role of the father, we expanded his role. The character was originally written as a hearing person, and Troy's deaf, and so we had to work that into the storytelling.
He just taught me a lot about deaf life, really. What it's like to be deaf, and I worked with him and his wife, Diane, to really make sure that this felt authentic.
There were specific scenes in the script that said Adam's perspective. So in those scenes, we could kind of tell, okay, there's not going to be sound here. So it was really, really suspenseful to read it and to understand, oh my God, she's going to be right next door, screaming, but when we go to Adam's perspective, he won't hear anything.
It just sort of occurred to us that we can take advantage of it. It's an opportunity. We haven't seen that. What happens when a character who can't hear walks into an environment where there might be a rabid chimp somewhere. And the biggest giveaway of the rabid chimp are the screeches and the howls and the noise, and if you don't have that perception, what does that do?
And we're just having a blast. I'm like a kid. I'm making my own kind of style of Cujo in this massive set too. From the moment that I thought about this movie, which is about 10 years ago, sitting outside my mum's swimming pool, to now where I'm here, and all this has been built, and then I've got all these people helping to create my vision. It's just incredible. Well done, everybody. That was wonderful.
The cast on Primate's amazing, considering what they have to go through. We kind of started with Johnny Sequoyah and built it around there. It was an interesting one because she was not necessarily how I had conceived the part of Lucy, who initially on paper was a lot kind of nerdier, I guess. And then Johnny came in and she just did such an interesting read that we were just all in agreement, like this is someone who could carry a feature film who brings a nuance to the part that maybe no one else had done. So we started with her, and then Jess Alexander I had read for another movie a while ago, and I remember doing it going, I really want to work with this person.
Okay, rehearsals up. Here we go.
I think Victoria was reasonably inexperienced and just came in and just blew us away with a read. And she's very, very athletic, and she just can go to places emotionally that is like the scenes in that movie that are really quite uncomfortably devastating. And Victoria really reflects it.
Get away from him. Get away from him.
And then Gia just came out of nowhere, really. We originally the part was written for a boy, and then someone suggested we read Gia as Erin, and she was just like, oh yeah, this is amazing. She was cast literally, I think it was the day before, or 2 days before filming.
Let's go one more. Let's see what happens. Yeah.
It's really fun to work with a young cast because a lot of them, Jess has had experience on bigger movies, but a lot of our cast, Vicky and Benjamin and Gia, this is sort of all relatively new, and it's fun to sort of see big movie filmmaking from the eyes of someone who's like, wow, this is kind of cool.
Being attached to my blood pump. Going to pump some blood all over me. It's going to be so much fun.
And it has been special because they have become friends, and you see them hang out, and they hang out on the weekends, and they don't just go off in their separate directions. And I think that comes through on the day because they're supposed to be friends, and I think that chemistry sort of is there, apparent on screen.
Sorry, don't you have like a gun or something?
You want to shoot him?
Yeah, isn't that what you're supposed to do with sick animals?
Yeah, I think probably the hardest performance is Jess as Hannah having to be mean to Lucy. You know, it's like, it's very convincing on camera, but you know, it is such a nice tight unit. You know, we always have like, okay, stop laughing, we gotta be scared now.
I think especially with filming a horror movie where so many scenes are so intense, the cast and I we all found a way to make things light on set. I think we honestly spent more time laughing than anything on this set. I mean, you know, filming such intense scenes, sometimes you weren't sure if you could get there again or if it was, you know, a hard day and you were exhausted. I would just look over at my castmates and I would instantly, you know, be there because everyone is such a pro.
Ready, and action.
When you're doing a film like this, you really do want like those people with you, like, okay, we're going to give it our all here and just, you know, really go for it. You're just kind of thrown in with these people, and then all of a sudden you got to do all this like mental screaming, and you know, it can be a little embarrassing if you're with the wrong people, but they were so great. They really went for it. I mean, me and the girls, we've spent a lot of time together in that pool, and we've definitely created an undeniable bond.
Something I noticed about this script is that there's quite a lot of scene direction, and so I felt like when I was reading it, I could really let my imagination sort of run wild. In the moments where there's like gore or suspense, like I could really picture the scenes in my mind, which I really enjoyed. It was like having a cinematic experience in my brain, like reading the script, and then seeing how those scenes have come to play like in life versus my expectation has been a really interesting thing from like first reading it to then actually making it.
I was honestly very surprised. I did not think that there could be an animal film that has this much suspense and also like heartbreak. But what I really connected with most was just like how strong all the characters are. And I think like that makes the film especially scary because you really are rooting for these characters to survive.
I think there's a lot of suspense in this, which for me is petrifying. And gore. I think the gore is pretty hardcore in this film. I mean, my character, unfortunately, doesn't make it to the end of the film, and I worked with the amazing prosthetics team, and Chris did this whole thing with my face, and I remember walking on set and everyone was like, whoa, that is revolting to look at. And that's even, you know, without the blood being there, literally just the sort of pure prosthetic. And then I've seen Jess's prosthetic, and they're all pretty crazy.
My initial thoughts were, how the hell are they gonna do the chimp?
I was really scared that it was gonna be like working with like, I don't know, like a green dot, and that was gonna be Ben, and I was like gonna have to be like terrified. And then I walked on and it was like, oh my God, there's Ben. And it's just like, it's actually a chimp. And he starts, the moment that we started rehearsals, like it was straight and he was making every noise, he was doing all the physicalities. It was fantastic.
Erin, get away from him.
a lot of the movies, it's all CGI, and this is somewhat real, you know? It's like a costume. And I only saw the chimp for the first time last week. It's so realistic, you know, especially when they put the slime on and like blood and everything. So, yeah, and when Miguel, Ben the chimp, gets into character, it's quite scary. When he's up close with you, and I've had to do quite a few like rolls and flips and whatever like with him, it's realistic.
Reading the script, I don't think anyone would imagine, oh yeah, this is gonna be a human in a practical VFX suit. Yeah, so it was so special to have a real actor, Miguel, who's absolutely incredible, so talented, and scary, playing Ben. It was honestly really freaky. I mean, having to like get very close to him, because Johannes was like, get closer, and I was like, okay. It's really freaky. I mean, it looks so realistic, and then when the blood and the saliva comes in, it's mind-blowing.
Check it.
That's pretty unusual, I would say. I probably will never get to work with someone playing a chimp again in my career. I hope not, anyway, it's terrifying.
Obviously, it's very funny when Ben is not being a creepy and an angry beast. You know, me being in the mask, I could just be having a laugh. I find my moments to find things that are curious or funny, and then get the cast laughing, get the crew laughing. Again, we're all building something. And yeah, surprisingly for a horror film, it's not horror in the making. It's actually a lot of fun. Another great thing that the film has is this other world that we're exploring, you know, with ASL, with also having an ASL character that is not about ASL, it's just the father of the family. But this relationship that we built was very special, very unique.
The fact that Troy was deaf, by its very nature, sort of set up this really terrifying finale where Troy has come home but has no idea of the peril that his daughters or he is in, because he can't hear any of the screams that are happening, and it's all kind of kicking off as he arrives.
What I really appreciated is like every single actor brought such an interesting element to their character. And so much of what you're seeing in the movie is really like aspects of every actor bringing something interesting to the character. The Primate cast is just so special. They're truly the best. Come and get us, Ben.
Yeah, we decided to go with practical effects on this movie because it felt like it was such a visceral movie that the chimpanzee needed to be right there with the actors because they're so terrifying, so strong, and if we didn't have that, threat to the actors, it just wouldn't have worked. And so that really led the discussion to do this for real.
You know, we did an open casting call looking for a creature performer, and because we had very specific requirements. They couldn't be tall because chimps aren't that big. They had to be pretty slight of build, but they also had to have a physicality to do the things that a chimp can do. And we read a bunch of character stunt performers, you know, theater actors, stunt people, and he came in and he was a chimp. He was wearing his sweats and a t-shirt, and I could swear there was a chimp on the screen.
Miguel is a dancer by trade, but there was something about his physicality, and he had never played a chimpanzee before, but came into the part with such an early understanding of it that you got his movements. And then through the course of working with the movement coach and the stunt team has put together the character of Ben that is its own thing. Miguel really intuitively understands who Ben is and talks about his intentions and his reactions as the character, and he's brought such dedication to the role.
It is really disconcerting sitting with Miguel. Like, sometimes he'll play and he'll come up and he'll fight with me, and it's really like odd because he is a chimpanzee and he is a really powerful. Miguel himself is a powerful person.
Whilst initially I was told they're looking for a dancer to do this, I come from an acting background as well. So, and I think that is where the key to achieve Ben has been. It's not just a movement task. It's very much an acting task. It's very much an emotional journey. I'm playing a character supported by everyone else in the team, you know, because it's a group of 15 people on set just working on Ben, plus everyone involved. But I think we're all working together towards achieving the character, and I don't think it would be possible if I didn't have an acting background.
It is insane. I mean, Miguel, who plays Ben, is so talented. He is incredible, gives everything every day, and the way that he moves his body is just so... I don't even have words to explain it, except he is absolutely incredible. I also was not expecting for a human to be playing Ben. When I read the script, I honestly just assumed it would be visual effects or animatronics, but when I met with Johannes, he was like, oh yeah, here's one of the masks. And I was like, oh, like, that's interesting. Like, why do you have a mask? He was like, well, that's for the actor. And I just lost my mind. I was like, there's absolutely no way.
I mean, seriously, he is the most talented person on this project. I cannot sing his praises enough. Do you know how ridiculous it would have been if we had to act to, like, I don't know what it even would have been to like a ball with a chimp head on and dots or something. Oh, that would have been horrible. But he's just been so good as Ben. And, you know, it only takes 10 minutes to suspend your disbelief with Miguel playing Ben. And he then, once he's in the chimp suit, he will not really interact with you as a human that much. Mainly, he would only ever interact with us as a chimp, unless he had the head off. It's very method.
We need to call Lambert. I told you to stay upstairs. Aaron's right. We need to call Lambert or your dad.
First time I saw Miguel in that flipping chimp suit was when we did screen tests. And actually, I spoke to a crew member who, they came on the first day of this for the screen test, and they didn't know what the film was about. And he was setting up some lights, and he turned around, and Miguel was there in that chimp suit, and he said he jumped out his flipping skin. He was like, what the hell is that? And I think we all felt the same way when we first saw Miguel.
The first time I really realised that Ben was going to be absolutely terrifying was we were doing a scene where Ben had to smash into a closet. And, you know, he's just on the other side and I'm on the inside with the actresses, and you can hear him groan because he does his own sounds. You know, Miguel is really vocal when he plays the part and makes these incredible chimpanzee noises, and he just started breaking in through this closet, and you're like, it was really scary. It was really scary. So you suddenly realise, yeah, this is definitely the right way to go.
Ben?
He is so committed to this role. He doesn't just sort of come in and put the suit on and go, okay, tell me where my marks are. Like, he brings something to it. He sort of says that's not what a chimp would do. Like, he's living it in a way that must scare his girlfriend. Because he's almost method in that way, that he is a chimp when he's on set, and it's remarkable to see. It's so much fun.
Miguel's getup is kind of a 3-part process. So just on like a regular day on set when he's not in the full outfit, he always has like the bottom half. So it kind of looks like he's wearing like chimp pants and he has like little chimp shoes. It's very silly.
I come in the morning and I do a warm-up. I do a physical warm-up because otherwise I wouldn't be able to go through the day, get my physical warm-up done. Then I go into the team of Millennium, and then I start getting all my layers. I got my underlayers first.
And he'll have what we call his like jerkin on, which has poppers that connect the arms too, and it's got a little like muscular back just to change his human proportions a little bit. Then he'll have his eye makeup done, which is just to break up his own natural skin tone, where his own human skin is seen through the mask, because there's holes in the eyes. His skin tone is actually quite good. We don't have to totally paint him, so it's just pigment just to break up his skin tone to make it look more animalistic. The suit is like hand-tied yak hair onto fabric. It's literally like wearing a fur coat, so it's very, very warm. But that's not the really, really hot bit is the hands, which are non-breathable silicone. Silicone is a great insulator, which is exactly what you need on a really hot set. And non-breathable, so all of the sweat collects in here. He always wants these on as late as possible, just because they're very, very uncomfortable to wear, and particularly gets very, very warm in the studio.
And then the head is the last piece that goes on, because that is a full animatronic headpiece. So when he has that on, he can't even hear. You know, if I'm standing in front of him, he can't even hear what I'm saying, because there's so many different mechanics going off that basically control his face.
It's an animatronic, so it's constantly making a it's constantly. I have this bee in my head all the time. Plus the instructions from the director and the feed from the actors. I have to put on contact lenses, because then the contact lenses, I mean, obviously the eyes need to look more like a chimpanzee, so we have these contact lenses that are bigger, that cover most of my eye. And yeah, the minute I'm in the suit and we mark and block the scene, yeah, it gets hot, it gets uncomfortable, it gets painful, constantly really squatting down, using loads of my upper body to control the movement.
So much admiration for him. It seems extremely claustrophobic, but he's such a pro.
And then we have Alex, who's our choreographer, as it were, who works with Miguel. She's watching and sort of helping him formulate his expressions. So it's a complex operation that isn't just like, oh, here's a guy, let's go. You have several different animatronic heads that do different expressions.
You know, there's an initial head, which is your very, docile, which has animatronics. We have several very talented puppeteers that help move the mouth and the nose and the eyebrows to bring life into the face, into the mask.
Tim and Rachel, who are working the different expressions, and they have to work in harmony with Miguel and his expression.
We did a roar head, which is like a big, toothy, open mouth version that we use more for our attack modes.
It allows the mouth to get very big for some of the more dramatic fight scenes.
Action!
We have a puppeteered head, which is literally a puppeteer's hand in the mouth so that we can put it in places that Miguel would have a harder time getting to.
Then there's more of a stunt head that doesn't have all the animatronics, but we can knock it around a little bit. The servos that are in there that allow us to move are a little more delicate, so you don't want to disrupt those.
Millennium's been amazing in sort of bringing this chimp to life, and that was our biggest concern, because this movie doesn't work if that mask doesn't work. If the mask looks like a mask, then our movie fails, and they've really nailed it.
It was honestly so special, though, to work with Miguel and to have, a real actor playing Ben. It really allowed for me and Miguel to create our own relationship, which therefore influenced Lucy and Ben's. It was really, really fun. Miguel is so collaborative.
To do this now, I think it feels quite unique. I don't think many productions will take the risk, but I think it's very well worth taking the risk. You achieve this grittiness, you achieve this richness in the performance and the picture that is quite unique.
I think the fact that we've gone practical with Primate will have a huge impact on the audience because it is scary. It's scary for the actors, and that will translate to the audience. You know, it's really tense. You really feel like there's a creature there that could do you harm that you wouldn't get with CGI. I love single location movies where I've put my characters into a situation and they have to work their way out. It's a really fun puzzle piece as a writer and as a director where you go, okay, you know, there's a horizon pool, one end cliffs, the other side, and there's only a spiral staircase up to the house. How are you going to get up to the house, you know? And it gave a lot of fun survival aspects to the movie.
One of the things about, you know, choosing to shoot the film in the UK was because of the great crews that are here and the ability to recreate the experience of being in Hawaii. And I challenge anybody to look at this movie and see what we've done to sort of, you know, point out how it makes a false step. Simon Bowles, the production designer, does a beautiful job of taking a real house that we found and then marrying it to the set that he built to create the illusion of this cliffside house in Hawaii.
The house in Primate has this swimming pool that is a converted agricultural water pit. So it means it doesn't have a shallow end, and it's right on the horizon of a cliff. And one of the first signs of rabies is hydrophobia, which means you're both obsessed with water but terrified by water. So the chimp kind of goes mad around water, but won't come. Chimpanzees can't swim anyhow. So the girls are kind of trapped in the water with the chimpanzee circling it. You know, how are you going to get out?
So welcome to Hawaii. Hawaii in the UK, in London. This is where we're based. This is where we're shooting this movie. We're shooting it here because we had one massive set that we needed to create, and this is it here. It's a little kind of elements of the house, so we knew we had to kind of create a really great looking swimming pool that's associated with the house, and we needed the veranda above it. It needed to be higher so you can look down over it. I wanted to put a space next to the swimming pool for the moments where Hannah first comes down the staircase and sees the beautiful pool and dips her toe in it. My idea for this set was actually that the first time we see it through Hannah's eyes, we see it as a beautiful kind of like Instagrammable destination that people would want to stay at. With this amazing view, beautiful pool, with beautiful rock faces around it. But later on, actually, those elements are the things that trap them, that they can't escape the pool. There's a big 100-foot drop at the front side of the pool. The rock faces that surround the pool are kind of very difficult to climb, and actually even if you did start to climb up them, there's a kind of an area that juts out at the top, so you can't double back on it, so you'd fall back down. So the only way kind of in and out of this swimming pool area is up the spiral staircase. And we made it a spiral so that as you're going up, you can't see straight up them like a normal straight kind of staircase. You have to kind of peer around the edge. And you almost want the audience to kind of lean their heads as they themselves look up the staircase to see if Ben is just round the corner.
You don't have to think, you don't have to imagine anything, it's all there. And seeing the pool be created and also all the landscape in the background is there's no green screen. You can't help but kind of feel like you're in Hawaii, and also it's very hot in there, so it's all the elements that you might need are there. And Simon is such a visionary. I mean, the veranda he's created is so homely. I mean, every detail that he's found.
Go on, Lucy, pick it up. The pool's amazing, the house is amazing, the terrace is great. Real fire, kind of hoping, great barbecue, kind of hoping that that's not being returned anywhere. I would love to take home the barbecue. Honestly, I felt like I was on holiday a lot. Just amazing.
You can see that it's a lived-in home. It doesn't feel like a set. I mean, it's just a dream for an actor to have everything you need just in front of you.
One thing I realized early on was actually that we needed a really high stage to fit this set in, because we have 5 foot of water, and then we have 12 foot of cliffs around the edge, and then above that we have a little section of the house. We have the living room of the house as well. So as you can see, we're really close to the ceiling, and then we need to put the lights in above that as well. So we have really maxed out on the height of this, but it works really well. So out here we have a printed backing of the sky with a little bit of sea there, just down below at the bottom. And on this we project clouds during the day, and in the nighttime scenes we project stars onto it as well. And we can overlay the clouds onto the stars to get another layer. So we move the stars around and we put clouds in, take them away. So when I first met Johannes about the project, I presented the idea that shooting this in the UK, we would need a real house. We would need a house that is believable for a kind of architecture that you would find in Hawaii, and the kind of vaguely the right setting as well in a forest. And there are these timber structure houses that exist in Europe called hoof houses, and they are amazing. They're kind of like a timber frame with loads of glass. And we found one that is in the middle of it feels like it's in the middle of a forest. That was fantastic, and it's all white timber, which is perfect. It feels like a real kind of destination feel, a feel of somewhere with heat and luxury. And we approached the owner, and they were happy for us to film there, which is amazing. So actually then I kind of like bolted a little bit of their house, kind of a replica of their living room, into the set here. So actually we can film most of the kitchen and the bedrooms and things on location. And then we come through and then we walk through into their living room, which we dress on location. But then we're also building here with the same dressing. And then we can walk out onto the veranda. It's a kind of way of stitching a location and a set together.
It's the biggest set I've ever worked on in my life. It's absolutely massive. But it just means that you have the jungle around it, and you have the translight, which is the night sky. And it just means that you are just totally immersed in this movie. There's no green screen or blue screen. So everything about this movie for the actors felt real, you know. So it's really quite spectacular.